Part 7, the final step of my productivity workflow, and I think it's the most important one, but it's probably the one that you're going to hate the most. This is a phrase that I've coined from Sam Ovens, which is burn a clean flame. Basically, if you have a clean body, your mind will be clean. And if you're doing waste man activities with your body, you're going to have disordered and fragmented thought, and you're not going to be able to concentrate properly, and it's just going to tank your productivity as well. So here are some recommendations from a physical perspective that will absolutely impact your mental well-being and your ability to focus and improve your output and take you ultimately towards your higher vision. There are no shortcuts here. Number 1 is don't drink alcohol. Alcohol is, I don't know how it managed to slip under the radar all these years to become the accepted drug of choice, like one of the most toxic ones as well. And it's just basically anxiety in a bottle. So if you're really serious about this, consider going sober, either permanently, ideally, but that's easy for me to say. I've never really been particularly attracted to alcohol, but at least for long stretches of time. And you know, if there's one thing to take away from it, at least like don't drink on your own. That's got to be an easy win. Same goes for smoking and any other drugs as well, but I think alcohol is the most kind of far-reaching one and the most socially acceptable, despite how destructive it is for your output. The next is eat clean. So as you know, we're not fans of like the idea of clean and dirty food, because ultimately calories are all that matter for getting lean. But as long as you have a large proportion of whole foods in your diet, you will feel that in terms of how much of a clean flame that you burn day to day. As we mentioned in video 4, you want to have periods of deep focus and deep work and alternate between the two. Grey is where productivity goes to die. So make sure that you're alternating between those two and not just kind of pissing along. Next is lift weights. If you're watching our channel, presumably you do lift weights, but if you don't, like that is such a high yield activity for every dimension of your life. It will improve your sense of your posture, your confidence, your sex drive, your ability, your physical strength, how you look, how you feel, like everything will just level up from lifting weights. So that's a no-brainer. If you're not sure where to start with that, check out the Propane Protocol on our website. It's a free infographic that has a 4 times a week training program. It's very simple progression and it's produced incredible results. So have a look at that for where to get started. Next is meditate, and take this one seriously. Don't just piss around with like 4 minutes a day. Give it a solid 20 to 30 minutes in the morning. Do it for 10 days. Come back and tell me that it hasn't changed your life. I'm going to do a video soon on the basics of meditation, but we have a longer video called Meditation 101, which I'll put in the description below, on how you can really dive into this as a practice to improve, again, every aspect of your life. Next is do something to connect deeply with your partner, whether that's eating together, going out together, doing some kind of exercise together, even good sex, something to really deeply connect with them, breathe with them, and open up your heart as well as your head. Next is read. Check out the video that we have on how I read 30 books a year while working as a doctor, so there's some really good tips in there on how you can fall back in love with reading. Have a creative outlet, some form of creative expression, whether it's writing or drawing or even a physical activity can be a form of expression. So find what it is that works for you. Breathe deeply. Have a dedicated breathing practice if you need to. And notice how so often we only breathe with kind of the top 20% of our lungs, rather than taking it all the way down into the belly and enjoying the benefits of the parasympathetic nervous system. If you're a bit of a phone addict, consider a dopamine fast. It will completely reset your ability to feel pleasure and to start motivating yourself to do things that are actually beneficial for you. Remember, as Alex Becker says, your brain does not select for things that are good for you. It selects for what's pleasurable. And so if you always default to the easiest form of, it's not even pleasure, like scrolling the feed or getting drawn into internet arguments and social media stuff and whatever, then it's not ultimately fulfilling and it's not rejuvenating for your brain. Consider a full dopamine fast, reset your sensitivity to pleasure, and start to generate pleasure from the stuff that we've covered here, rather than from the poor substitutes for true pleasure. So if you're going to do that, Minimize social media by putting the barriers in place, using tools such as cold turkey to just put a hard limit on how much time you can spend on these platforms. These are not platforms designed for your personal growth. They are the modern form of tobacco, in my opinion. Finally, spend time with friends. Remember, this is what we live for, and it's so easy to get caught up with work that we forget that the true enjoyment comes from connection with other people. And if we miss out on that, then we're not living the best version of ourselves, and actually we end up losing on all fronts. So make sure that you allocate some time for that too. So that's it for Burning a Cleaner Flame, and that concludes my 7-part series on my productivity workflow. So if you're wondering about further reading, you do not need further reading. That is it. Any further reading on this stuff is procrastination. You've got everything that you need here to absolutely rocket fuel your productivity. So make sure that you get started, implement the stuff that we've covered so far. Make sure to subscribe as well. Comment below on how this has impacted you or what's been the most important realization from this. And let me know what else you want me to cover in next week's video. Okay, it's been a pleasure. Speak soon.